That's fine. I'll do my very best. Can I begin by warmly congratulating my neighbour, Minister McEntee, on our reappointment of the Ministry for Justice. My neighbour from across the fields, as they say. But so it's good to see you in the role, and you've been making huge waves as it is. So I want to obviously formally support the adoption of the regulation enhancing police cooperation in relation to prevention, detection and investigation of human trafficking. So, but what I want to turn to say now, I had the privilege and honour of meeting a group recently who are the Health and Social Care, Education and Human Trafficking Group. And I hosted a briefing in the AV room as a consequence of meeting them. I hosted that yesterday. Thankfully, it was hugely attended from all the parties, which I'm thrilled about because it means there's awareness across the parties. The two principals in the group that I met are Dr. Annette Kennedy, who was the President Emeritus of the International Council of Nurses, and Dr. Anne-Marie Ryan, who has lectured in Trinity, has a PhD in education, was a nurse educator, and they both began life as nurses in the Richmond Hospital. Then they gained eminence in their profession at organisation and professional level, and both are doctors now, and obviously have huge competencies, both academically, intellectually, and in terms of practical experience. And they both addressed the gathering yesterday from cross-party, and they made a very important point, Minister, that I'm very concerned about, and it will come up again in the next legislation that you'll be here in the House on human trafficking. They want the Department of Health involved. What they want is professionals, nurses, doctors, GPs, social care workers, social workers, all of that, which I'm proud to say my son is a social worker, but all of these people, they want them to have a competence to detect, to spot a humanly trafficked person, to detect it and to report it. And what they've achieved, what they want this to be part of the education of these professionals, that there's a module on this, and it doesn't necessarily involve huge costs because they're in a college course anyway. It's to stick in a module on this, and it's so critical. They tell me that in the first year of people are trafficked, 88% approach a medical practitioner or a nurse. 88% go to some medical practitioner with an issue, whether it's from a pregnancy or whatever, an injury, a myriad of things, or disease or whatever. 88, and only 1% of that 88% are detected. And Minister, I know you have a huge interest in this whole sphere, Minister, and a huge sensitivity to it. And I think that's a horrific statistic by any objective criteria. 50 million people are trafficked globally, and there was a TIP report, and TIP stands for Trafficking in Persons report done by America. Ireland came in tier 2 for this. We should be ashamed of that fact. And that's something, Minister, I know you'd want to change, and it does need changing, and I'd be appealing to you to make changing that a priority. We have them working in labour in full sight. I suppose the first famous person trafficked to Ireland was St. Patrick. And since the trafficking of St. Patrick, which we all express horror about around St. Patrick's Day, it has got worse and worse and worse, and we have millions trafficked, and we're now having our petrol filled, or our cars washed, or we're in hotels with our staff there, or whatever, or intensive farms or whatever, where we're seeing people who are trafficked. And we need to be vigilant, and we need to be conscious of it. And I know today's legislation is a step, the adoption of this regulation is a step in the right direction, but I would appeal to you, Minister, to be supportive of the idea of getting it into education of professionals that they can spot it. I'm going to finish on that, other than to say that I just think today's work is good, but it's only a fraction of where we have to go on this, and it will. People will evaluate us in years to come on so many things that are bleak and dark now, but one of the things history will look at, how did we respond to this horror that's in front of our eyes, and did we look the other way, metaphorically or literally? Thank you very much, Senator O'Reilly.